Do you want to invest in real estate but keep second guessing yourself and it's preventing you from actually investing? I've felt that way too. I remember when it took me 12 months of learning and analyzing deals before I bought my very first investment property. Now, I co-own over 2,400 real estate rentals with partner investors. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ariane and I retired at 27 with investment income, and I made this channel to help good people like you reach financial freedom as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can analyze deals and run the numbers on investment properties so you can stop second guessing yourself and grow your real estate investment portfolio. So I'm going to go over what goes into analyzing an investment property right now. Basically, this includes looking at the loan details and asking price for the property, looking at the projected income for the property, the projected expenses, the projected renovation needed, and what offer price makes sense to meet your target returns. Now, after you do this analysis yourself and make your offer, I'm also going to talk about the professionals you need to consult on your team after you do your personal analysis. I'm going to share a tool that's going to make all of this easier. You can get a free copy of my personal investment property calculator. Go to wealthgym.com/rental calculator. That link is going to be in the description below as well. So let's get started. You can see my rental property calculator here on the screen. We're going to go to the calculator tab, and then we're going to start inputting the loan details and the purchase price. So here's the screen without me changing anything. And then I'm going to show you the address of the property I'm going to analyze. So here it is. It's 2358 Vermilion Drive in Mobile, Alabama. So the asking price is $85,000. So I'm going to change the purchase price to that. And then we're also going to change the loan details. I have a whole video just about low down payment loan options for rental property. So check that video out. I'm going to put that in the description below. So anyway, this is a $85,000 property. Typically for a rental property loan, you're going to need 20% down. So there's that. We also have a 30-year amortization loan. The loan interest rate right now, loan rates are higher now, as you guys know. So I'm going to put 5% to be safe. And then we'll look at the other items like the renovation costs and the monthly average rent next. So now that we have that, the next thing we're going to look at is the projected income. So that's where this income detail section comes in. Basically, we need to know how much can we rent this 2358 Vermilion Drive for. Well, one of the ways you can find out is you can actually go to the Zillow listing and scroll down and see what their rental zestimate is. So there you go. So there's a rental value, and we have a rental zestimate of $10.99 a month. Now, if you've been looking in this market for a while, you should know if that's low or high. But for the purposes of this video, so it doesn't take too long, we're going to say that $10.99 a month is the average monthly rent for this unit. So we'll put $1,099 here in the average monthly rent. And there's only one unit. This is one house, so we'll leave that at 1. Other income, if you have other fees that you charge, like a pet rent or a fee for the utilities, you can add that here. For this particular property, we're going to assume that there aren't any fees, so we'll leave that there. So the next section we have is the projected expenses, and we're going to scroll down here to the fixed expenses section. So we have fixed expenses at the top and variable expenses at the bottom. So the fixed expenses are mainly taxes and insurance. So we can actually see the taxes typically in the Zillow as well, the Zillow listing as well. So here we go. There's a price and tax history. If we scroll down, we'll see the public tax history. So it looks like the annual property taxes are $499 a year. Now this is a monthly calculation, so we'll have to get our handy dandy calculator and calculate $500 divided by 12. So that is $41.66. I'm gonna round that up to $50 for taxes. So $50 a month for taxes. And then insurance. Now, what you'll want to do later is call up your insurance broker and get them to give you an estimate of what the annual insurance is and then get the monthly number from that. But for now, we're gonna assume that it's gonna be about $80 a month. That's gonna be close to $1,000 a year. Next, if you have to pay any utilities, you're gonna put the utilities here. If you have any contract expenses, you will put it here. So if you have to pay for lawn care or anything, any pest control, I typically do like to budget for at least pest control expenses. So that includes the termite spraying and pest control for the entire property. That's usually $40 a month. And then you can add any other fixed expenses. So this particular property, it is pretty affordable. That's why the expenses are pretty affordable as well. So that is our fixed expenses section. Next, we're gonna go over to the variable expenses section. This calculator starts with this preset variable expense setting. You're gonna get 7% for vacancy. That usually leaves you about a month a year where the property can be vacant, and you're budgeting for that vacancy, so you're not worried about how you're gonna make your mortgage payments and other expenses on the month that you have to turn the unit and wait for the new tenant. We also have a 5% expense for capital expenditures. If you actually highlight the little notes here, it'll explain what capital expenditures are. Basically, these are the big ticket items. That's like the roof, the air conditioner, the windows, siding, etc. So what we do is, even though we don't have to replace the roof every month, we set aside 5% of the rent in a capital expenditure reserve account so that when the roof does eventually need to be repaired or replaced, we already saved money to do that. So it's not hurting your investment returns. Next, we budget 5% for maintenance. This is for any plumbing repairs that need to be done. So any like normal wear and tear things that need to be done routinely to the property, we also budget for that. Next, we have a property management expense. Usually this is 10% if you only have a few rentals with a property management company. But once you have, let's say, 5 or more rental properties, it makes sense to ask them if you can get a discount, right? So when we have properties, usually it's less than 10%. When we started to have 5 or more properties, we started going down to 9%. As we got more, it became 8% and 7%, 6%. So it really depends how many rental properties you have with the property management company. Now we have we've inputted all of the fixed and variable expenses. Now we have the total monthly operating expenses totaled here. That is 42% of the total rent. You do want this number to be between 35 and 50% of the gross rent you have, because if it's lower than that, usually you're not budgeting enough expenses. So that's a quick gut check here, and you have a little note here to remind you. So now we get to see what our net operating income is per month and per year. So that net operating income is your total income minus your total expenses, and we get $632 a month or $7,500 a year net operating income. Again, there's all of these other little notes if you want to learn more about this, what the cap rate is, what an implied cap rate is. There's a whole video I made about that goes deeper into this, so check that out. But the next section here is the debt service. So our net operating income does not include our loan payments, the principal and interest loan payments. After we take that out, and the calculator automatically does that since you put in the loan amortization and down payment and interest rate here, it automatically calculates that. So now we can see that our net income is $267 or 13.5%. Now we do still have one step we have left. as far as numbers are concerned, right? So we calculated the income, and we have the expenses. The next thing we gotta check is how much renovation will it need to actually rent out for that $1,099 a month. So we're gonna go to the pictures of the property and just look and see what we think it needs. So it does look like a new roof, so that's nice. You don't have to replace the roof. They already did that for you. It has newer flooring. It looks nice and clean inside. The bathroom could use a little bit updating, but it looks like it's probably fine. They have this extra, looks like it's an exterior room with a fireplace potentially. We might want to paint that room, but it doesn't look like it needs a lot of renovation. So I would actually be okay just leaving this $5,000 renovation cost here. If you want it to be conservative, you can bring it up to $10,000. But you don't really have to worry about that too much right now, because you will have an inspection when you actually go under contract, and you can see if there's anything more that you need to add to your renovation costs. So I think $10,000 is pretty conservative. We could have left it at $5,000. There is a renovation tab here where you can check boxes if you do need renovation, and you can put the square footage. Basically, you just put the square footage, so it's 1368, and then you check boxes if you think it needs that renovation. Now, the property really doesn't need a whole lot, so I can't really check any of these boxes, because at most, maybe it'll need some painting, and then we might need some miscellaneous other thing, right? So I checked paint, interior, and then other, and then it gave me $5,400. I think that's fine. If there were more things that you needed to do, like you needed to replace all the flooring, you needed to replace all the cabinets, you can check that and they'll add all of this for you. And then you can use that total number as your preliminary projection for the renovation. So again, right now we'll leave it at 10%. Now the next step we need to do after we inputted all these things, now we inputted the projected income, we have the projected expenses, we have the projected renovation needed, and then now we just gotta check and make sure that the price that we have here, the asking price that they ask, is what we actually want to offer. If we scroll down to the projected cash on cash return, this says that there's an 11% projected cash on cash return that is actually pretty good. Usually, if it's anything more than 10%, you're pretty happy with that as an investor. So $85,000 is a pretty good price for this property. So if I was looking for an investment property in Mobile, Alabama, I would call my realtor up right now and ask them to write an offer for this property, because it just went on the market 8 hours ago, and it looks like I could get at least an 11% cash on cash return on this. I'm gonna make an offer. The other thing you do want to look at are all of these other ways to make money on this investment. The cash on cash return is just one way you make money on investments. There's actually 4 ways. I made another video going deeper into this, so watch that here and in the description below. Check that video out. It really is eye-opening. It shows you why, even though the cash on cash return is only 11%, why the projected total annual return is actually potentially 25% or 26% if you round up. Right? So that is amazing. A 26% projected annual return for this property is amazing. So there we have it. This is how I do my analysis on a rental property, and now you guys can do it too. Don't forget to get your copy of that rental calculator. It's in the description below. Now, after you do your analysis, there is another step, which is to check with your professional team to make sure your projections are correct. So that professional team includes your realtor, your property management company, your insurance agent, your mortgage broker, and your contractor. Because what we did here, we were just putting in our projections based on what we saw on the internet, but we're not a full-time property management company. We're not a full-time insurance agent. They will have more in-depth information, and they will have the actual numbers of what the actual rent they're going to be able to rent it for. The property manager is going to know all about that. The property manager will usually know a lot of the expenses and income projections if they're accurate. Your insurance agent is the one who's actually going to write the insurance policy, so they know what the insurance cost is going to be, and your mortgage broker will have the most accurate rate for your loan. Your contractor will know exactly how much it's going to be to fix anything you find or even paint that one room we looked at. So you want to make sure you double check with those professionals before you buy the property. You will have time to do this when you go under contract and the end of your inspection period. So you want to do it in that time frame. Here is a very useful tip when buying an investment property, especially in a competitive market. As soon as you finish your analysis like we did here, you and your agent need to tour the property and submit an offer right away. Speed is king, and sometimes you can't wait 2 to 3 days for you to hear back from the rest of your team to get back to you. You gotta make that offer right now because you might not have a chance in 2 to 3 days. You will still have time during your inspection period to make sure that you check your projections with your contractor, your property manager, your insurance agent, and your mortgage broker. But if you don't make an offer, you won't even have that chance. So do this now. Make sure you submit an offer and then just double check all of your projections later during your inspection period. I do have other videos that go over the other steps of buying rental property, so make sure you check that out here. And I have other playlists of other videos about real estate investing in the description as well. If you like this video, consider clicking that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be the first to hear about all the new videos I have on real estate investing and financial freedom. And if you know someone else who could use this information, please consider sharing this with them. If you want more tips on real estate investing and financial freedom, I post daily videos on Instagram. Join me there at the Ariane Lemire. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you at the next video.